A preacher who wanted to court me, looking for a submissive wife, be the man's helpmate. It handles divorce differently. The yoked is the wooden bar around livestock. If they are a lead weight, there's no male and female. Jacob secretly flees with his wives, children, and livestock from his deceptive father-in-law Laban after 20 years. Laban pursues him, but God warns Laban in a dream not to harm Jacob. He confronts Laban over years of unfair treatment, unable to find his stolen idols hidden by Rachel. Laban agrees to a treaty, building a pillar of stones as a boundary witness and a final peace covenant at Galeed. The lessons here is God sees unfair treatment and protects his promises. Jacob finally stands up to Laban's control, showing that stepping into God's calling requires breaking away from unhealthy, manipulative connections. I had a preacher who wanted to court me, and he said he was divorced. So I asked how that worked, if he had to be a good example to his congregation. He said his ex-wife was not religious and asked him to stop preaching and find alternative work. He said he was looking for a submissive wife and that the Bible states women were made to be the man's helpmate. I asked him whether he'd consider preaching outside of the congregation because then he could reach more of an online and global audience, especially to enable travel and exploration. And he said no, his new wife would have to be loyal to his congregation. Scholars note that the Bible states there should be mutual submission, where the preceding verse calls all believers to submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Galatians 3:28 states there's no male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. But the passage shows God proves his presence is with those who obey and advises believers to distance themselves from people who claim to follow God, but live in unrepentant sin, or to avoid marrying non-believers. However, it handles divorce differently, discouraging believers from leaving an unbelieving spouse if that spouse is willing to stay. It says, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers, or what fellowship has light with darkness? We all know that we are given freedom of choice to have relationships with people, and our lives become the average of who we choose to hang out with. The word being equally yoked is the wooden bar around livestock. Doubling the number of horses does not double the horsepower. It actually multiplies the efficiency by way more than double. It is the same with two people in union, whether friendship, family, or partners. Equally yoked partners will amplify exponentially the trajectory of what you are. Only you know if they are a lead weight or a skillful helpmate. If you see this reel, may you be blessed with the right people supporting your dreams and ambitions.